Hello kapamilya sports fans, Mix Bustos here and nandito po tayo ngayon sa ABS-CBN Sports YouTube page kasi po patuloy pa rin ang ating interviews and pagkwento ng storya ng ating mga SEA Games medalists. For today, we have multi-sport athletes and medalists as well. We have gold medalists from Duathlon and Triathlon together with their coach. Pakilala po natin sila Fer Casares, Kim Mangrobang, and their coach, Annie De Leon Brown. Hello
Hi.
guys, congratulations. Yes sir, SEA Games medalists. Grabe. I know you're back in the Philippines right now, but Kim, can you tell us more about your journey? I know that you won silver in triathlon and individual duathlon gold medalist. What was that like for you on this year's SEA Games?
This SEA Games was really special to me because um madaming events like syempre may aquathlon, may duathlon, and the triathlon and lahat ng team kasama namin dito. So nag-enjoy ako this SEA Games. So kakaibang experience siya for me.
For you, Fer, you are the individual triathlon gold medalist. What is this like for you? And you were all
Yeah,
actually back to back, if I'm not
yes,
mistaken.
exactly. Yeah, because last
Yes.
year, last weekend in Vietnam, I won my first gold medal in the individual triathlon, and I had a lot of pressure because I wanted to defend my title, and luckily, thank God, I got to achieve it. So it means a lot, and yeah, and so yeah, I'm pretty happy, and it's a relief because now, well, I will keep, I will be able to keep being a professional athlete, being supported by POC, PSC, TRAP, and my sponsors, and hopefully I will get another gold medal in the next SEA Games in Thailand. But for the moment, yeah, I'm just enjoying it.
And of course, congratulations to you guys. I will ask this question first, Coach Annie, to Fer and Kim, because one of the and siguro most talked about things in SEA Games is the weather. Kung mainit sa Pilipinas, mas mainit sa Cambodia, and you're at the brunt of these conditions, especially in duathlon and triathlon. What was that like for you? Your adjustments for in your event when it comes to the weather.
Yeah, so as you said, it was scorching. Before going to Cambodia, we heard rumors that it was gonna be really hot, and well, we as we live here in Philippines, we thought that it wasn't gonna be that extremely hot, but indeed it was. Yeah, I think I've never raced with such conditions. So luckily we got 1 week to get used to it, so it wasn't that hard. But still, the race was a bit late, 8:30 a.m. for men and 8:30 for women actually in duathlon. So it was kind of late, and I really struggled. Everyone did, but well, we are athletes, so we have to go through this.
How about for you, Kim? What were the adjustments on your end?
Yeah, syempre dito kami nag-training sa Philippines. Medyo mas malapit yung weather compare kung if magte-training ako abroad. And yeah, sobrang init. I think nag-collapse ako sa duathlon and nag-collapse ako sa triathlon and lahat rin naman ng athletes na nandun halos nagko-collapse every finish line kasi super init. And late rin kasi nag-start yung races eh. So, but na-survive namin and okay kaming lahat. So, walang
Mm. Oh well, congratulations still. You crossed the finish line with gold and silver medals for you, Kim. Coach Ani, ano yung mga preparations pagdating sa ganyan? Especially if you're guiding your team pag may mga gadong factors na medyo hindi mo makontrol.
Well, the weather was really they weren't kidding when they said it was going to be hot. So, we can control some things like as Kim mentioned earlier, we tried to be there at least a week before. I think we were there at least 6.5 days before the first event, and really the starting times I maybe the organizer could have started earlier because they both had to race at 8:30 um, for either the triathlon or duathlon because they alternated the starting times for the men and women. And actually, our mixed team relay had to start at 2 p.m., which was really,
2 p.m.
really hot. And not only that, the water was already so choppy. by the time they swam, because typically the water becomes choppier around lunch onwards, or the later you start. Normally, when you start earlier in the morning, the waves are much calmer. So the later the start time is, the harder it is for, I mean, the swimmers, because it gets wavier and wavier. And you can ask the mixed team relay later. They had really choppy conditions. But yeah, um, actually, Kim and Fer, they're prepared enough for the heat, because we've been training here for months. And there are certain things that they can control, like making sure they hydrate properly. But then, of course, when you're pushing so hard, um, you metabolize everything so quickly, and then you just like sweat so much. So by the time they both collapse basically when they cross the finish line. They're elite athletes, whatever the conditions may be, whatever the distance may be, they will always push um, the hardest. So
Yeah.
whatever the situation may be, they will always push. So
Mhm.
of course, the tougher it is, the more taxing it is for them. So yes, they really gave it their all. And in fact, I had some scary moments for both, because after they crossed, they had to be in the medical tent, etc. Um,
Oo.
yeah, for was delirious for a little bit. So it's really scary for us, like their parents and myself, they're all the coaches. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm
Buti.
really thankful they're back. We're here training again for the next event.
Yeah, pero buti natawid, cross the finish line
Yes, yes.
still, in with gold and silver. Coach, I will stay with you. Game plan. Pagdating sa ganun. Para po sa mga unang mga nakakapanood nito, getting to learn about multi-sport events pagdating sa SEA Games. Malakas tayo diyan, nagme-medal tayo. Pero ano ba yung game plan pagdating kalaban ng ibang bansa, Coach Ani?
Um, Ever since, alam ko kasi yung Philippines is number one in Southeast Asia. And for us, sobrang hirap i-maintain nun. And nakafocus lagi kami sa gold medal. Yung Philippines is laging gold medal yung goal namin for SEA Games. And yun na yung pinofocus namin palagi. We train for it, nagpe-prepare kami for it.
Siguro pagdating sa pag ganyan ba coach, parang kuwari, example nga, sa basketball, kuwari sa volleyball, pag any other sport, kapag nagsa-scout kayo ng kalaban, what's that like from your end in terms of parang, oh sige, ito malakas to. Ito, yung tendencies ito, ganyan. May mga ganun din ba, coach?
Yes, yes. Definitely we are aware of the competition. We are aware. Meron kasing dynamics yung triathlon, for example, like um you need to come out with the first group, etc. For example, it was a little bit harder for Fer, and because he came out like seventh or something out of the water, and there were a lot of faster swimmers. So the order is swim, bike, run, but they had to work. Him and Kim Remolino had to work really hard to chase the first pack, so to speak, because they were in a big group and they were working together, and they had an amazing bike ride. By the time the bike leg was finished, they were within reach of all the leaders. So by the time the run started, it wasn't too hard for them to uh, chase the runners. But yeah, it's getting harder and harder because the past outings of the SEA Games were standard distance. Now it's sprint. They had a little bit more room to play because they had more time to chase on the bike, because they're amazing bikers. But this time we have to really step up with the swim, because the other countries right now have the edge when it comes to the swimming leg in the men's event anyway. For Kim, she's comfortably in the first pack when she gets out of the water. So different dynamics. Yeah. So she just has to work with who she has at that time, and then yeah, make a bigger and bigger lead towards the
For
finish.
as a Thank you, coach. For as an athlete's perspective, there are many preparations, right, leading up to a major event. What have been siguro for you yung talagang you prepared hard for and you think that it materialized in the event?
Well, I would say I've never trained that hard until for this event. I remember before SEA Games in Vietnam last year, I trained also very hard, but after all, it was just one event, standard distance. But in the SEA Games, I had to join two events 2 days in a row. I knew how hard that was gonna be. We even did some simulations like training at Duathlon one day and the next day triathlon because that's exactly what was gonna happen in DC Games. And so yeah, also the dynamic of the training was a bit different. Last year, since it was standard, the sets were a bit longer, but not so explosive as explosive as the sets I've been training for the last months because the distance is shorter too. And also, I'm already 26 years old. I'm not saying I'm old, but I know that I'm racing with younger people who can be more well, can be faster and yeah, it's really a challenge, but this is what I signed up for. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty proud of my effort and my performance in overall.
Well, of course, no. Maraming mga Filipino coach, Kim and Fer, that really are into multisport. They're not necessarily Philippine team athletes. Are into multisport, diba? Triathlon, and it takes so much already, right? But Kim, for you, I mean, to take so much already to begin with, but for you to represent the Philippines, join elite level competitions, what does it take from your perspective na kailangan kong ganito eh? This is what I signed up for. This is what it takes. What goes on behind the scenes when you maintain that kind of level?
Actually, maintaining the spot is really hard kasi everyone is like targeting at you, like especially Vietnam, Cambodia. When we go to SEA Games, nafe-feel ko nape-pressure ako palagi kasi I know like other countries wants to get the gold always. And then for me, naka-focus lang ako sa goal and ang important sa akin is ma-maintain yung position ng Philippines sa SEA Games, Triathlon and Duathlon.
For you, for like behind the scenes, like, what do you usually do na parang, I really have to be intentional in doing this. These
Oh
little
yeah,
things for to
yeah.
maintain
Well,
my
the way
elite
I
level.
deal with that pressure because I know, as Kim said, we are the main target. Also, well, the Philippine team is the main target in SEA Games, right? At least in multi-sports like triathlon, duathlon. Aquathlon was the first event, so no one knew each other. But still, I'm pretty sure they knew that we were also strong in aquathlon. So the way I deal with it is just to stay focused on my race, being also selfish, which is something that may sound bad, but it's the truth. You have to be in order to perform well. And well, I always say this: I have this tunnel vision. I don't care about my surroundings. I just focus on myself, and that's how I deal with the pressure. Yeah, uh, try to concentrate as much as possible. Not to overthink of everyone, and that's the way I work.
All right. So that's what it takes, eh. Mamba mentality, right? You gotta do the extraordinary things to strive for
Yeah.
greatness. Yeah. Thank you guys for Kim, baka pwede mo i-flex yung medal dyan. Represent na
Ay,
lang kay Fer kasi nasa bag pa ni Fer
Yeah, sorry,
yung
I
sa kanya
forgot
eh.
mine, but it's the same. It's the same.
It's the same, it's the same, it's the same.
We both have
Yan.
gold.
Yan. So, syempre, hoping for more medals for the Philippines. Lastly, Coach Ani, what's next for your team? I know you're training now. Ano yung pinaghahandaan ninyo, Coach?
So these two are training for because we do an international circuit. Of course, we did the SEA Games, which is like a major boost for our sport, and it gives us, the people here more awareness as to what our capabilities are. But really, the main goal for the long term is to get into the Olympics. And for them to do that, we have to get points in the international circuit. So the next race for these two is in Osaka, which is part of the Asian Cup series. So that's in Japan on May 28th. So yeah, and then the U23 kids were now are also preparing for a Japanese race in Gamagori in June. You can ask them about that later after this.
All right. Thank you so much to our multi-sport athletes, Fer Casares, Kim Mangrobang, and of course, Coach Annie De Leon Brown. Thank you guys. Maraming
Thank
salamat.
you.
God bless. And of course,
Salamat.
congrats as SEA Games gold medalist. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining us here in ABS-CBN Sports. Thank you.
See you.